turns out Americans just didn't pay $688 billion in taxes. The IRS says that is the largest shortfall they've ever seen. So I'm going to tell you what the IRS is doing about it and what it means for you in a second. But first, I want to thank my TikTok subscribers for voting for this story as the bonus this week. If you want to vote too, make sure you subscribe to my page during my next live event, or you can follow these steps and you can subscribe right now. Okay, so first, this $688 billion of missing tax money was from the tax year 2021. The official term for that is a tax gap. I've talked about tax gaps on this channel before. They definitely contribute to our national deficit every single year. So in case you're wondering, a deficit is when the government spending exceeds the amount of money that comes in. Our tax money is considered revenue, so money coming in. And when the government expects X amount of money in tax revenue and then budgets for that amount and spends that amount, in reality, if the government is $688 billion short, that becomes a problem. That shortfall is added to the deficit for that year. And all the deficits combined over all the years make up our national debt, which, as you know, as of today, is $33.6 trillion. Make sense? Okay, so back to this enormous tax gap from 2021 and how it happened. The IRS says the majority of it, $542 billion, was from American taxpayers underreporting their income. The remainder was from people who didn't file a tax return even though they were required to, and people who just didn't pay their bills. But the question is, what happened in 2021 that caused this huge tax gap? The IRS says it was economic growth. More people quit their W-2 income corporate jobs where your taxes are automatically withheld and moved into the gig economy or started their own businesses where it's up to you to report your income. And generally, the IRS sees less compliance with that. Now, on the positive side, in 2021, the IRS says 85% of taxes were paid voluntarily, accurately, and on time. But it's that other 15% that's causing this massive tax gap. So what is the IRS going to do about it? Well, they're fully expecting late payments from 2021 to still come in, and they are going to go after people who are either not filing taxes when they should, underreporting their income, or underpaying their taxes. The IRS believes those efforts will probably bring in an additional $63 billion, so that's at least a dent in the huge tax gap. But the question I'm sure you're asking is, are they coming after me? Are they going to increase audits on you and me, the everyday taxpayer, to try and close this tax gap? The simple answer is no. But the more complicated answer is the number of audits for everyday taxpayers like you and me has always been higher than the audit percentage of wealthy people and corporations. Why? Because it's easier and cheaper to come after us. I actually told you in this video last month that some of the biggest contributors to the tax gap are millionaires and corporations that hide assets and have their accountants get creative with the numbers. And going after them to get the tax money the government is owed, it just takes more money, more time, more resources. And in the past, when Congress was gutting the IRS's budget, they didn't have the money, time, and resources to go after the wealthy and corporations. So you take a guess at who they came after instead. I'll wait. If you guessed us, the everyday taxpayer, you're right. So according to the IRS, the audit level for everyday taxpayers is going to be similar to what it's always been, which again is higher than wealthy people and corporations. But I also told you in that same video, the IRS is already using some of that new $80 billion over 10 years that Congress gave them in the Inflation Reduction Act to actively go after not only 1,600 millionaires who owe more than $250,000 in back taxes, but also corporations with more than $10 billion in assets. Now, they're also going to use that money to step up enforcement for people with large amount of digital assets who are not paying taxes, people who are not paying taxes on their foreign bank accounts, and construction contractors who are using shell companies to hide income.